This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
I want to mention, even though Steve gets the win, and don't get me wrong, that's worth celebrating. And as you said, probably the biggest single payday he ever got for a single match. It still feels like Vince has his training wheels on Austin a little bit. We've dropped the ringmaster, but we've still got DiBiase. We're still using the $1 Million Dream. But it won't be long before those training wheels are off. And speaking of off, there's a big trade essentially. Now it's not like it's a, football league or baseball league and these teams are really trading, but just humor me for a minute. 1, 2, 3 Kid, Razor, Diesel, they're going to WCW. And then comes Steve Austin, Mark Mero, and Mick Foley. And I don't know about you, seems like a pretty damn good trade on both sides. And I might even give the advantage to the WWF on that deal.
And you could, and make a good argument for it. All those guys are very talented. They went where they needed to go at the time.
Yes, they did.
And that's all good. So Mero was a Sable hire. You know that. Mark is as wonderful a person that's walked this earth as with a wrestling background or image as anybody I know. Great guy, great motivational speaker, lives a clean life. He's a good man. And if you ever get a chance to hear him talk at one of his things he does, probably be worth your time. You'll get something out of it.
Oh, for sure.
And but then how do you? I thought Foley was a pretty good hire.
Yeah, worked out, huh?
I thought he did pretty well. And of course then Steve goes crazy. But so yeah, I think you can say it was a win-win for both sides. But based on the lay of the land at that time and the evolution of the said talents on both groups, I would give. It's hard to knock that WCW hiring. NWO, that would save their. I mean, I don't say it saved their ass, but it might have saved their ass.
It was huge, but again, it wasn't bigger than Austin 316. But we're not there yet. Outside of Mania 12, we would see Austin lose to the Caribbean Kid on Superstars. This is going to be Austin's first television loss, and you might be wondering, who the hell's the Caribbean Kid? I don't remember a guy under a mask called that. It's Savio Vega. Nice little way to keep the feud going. But of course, as was tradition back then, right after WrestleMania, we're going to do the big European tour. And man, this is where the rubber meets the road. Check this out. The first night in Germany, he's going to put over Bret Hart. It's his first time these guys have ever worked. And then he's going to go 27 minutes with Shawn Michaels in Germany in the main event, by the way, because Shawn's now the champ. Ahmed Johnson is going to go ahead and beat him in Bonn, and then he'll lose to Bret again in Frankfurt. But still, those are the top 3 baby faces in the whole deal. And he's getting 27 minutes with Shawn, multiple matches with Bret, and he's wrestling Ahmed Johnson. Clearly, it's about to be his time to shine.
Absolutely. Somebody's knocking on the door.
Yeah.
And, Steve never had an issue about, people are going to say, well, what about that Brock Lesnar thing in Atlanta? Well, he didn't have a problem putting over Brock Lesnar or you, Conrad, or me, Billy and Benny McGuire podcasting. I can say that because it's a pot called the Kettle Black. But I have lost some weight during this cancer thing.
Oh, good for you.
I have one ab.
That's a big one.
No 6-pack, but I got that quart size lump.
There you
go. But Steve never had an issue putting people over if it was the right thing for business. And so, and he had such good judgment about how to book his character and how to win and how to lose, that, it's never become a real big issue. So the brilliance of this deal was a 27-minute with Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
I'm sure when it was booked, we didn't plan on them going 27 minutes. Probably 20, 15. Depends on how hungover they were, how tired they might be, how sore, whatever. But I'm sure Shawn called that in the ring. and extended the match because he was having fun. Isn't it amazing? Some kids never grow up. It's still about having some fucking fun. In today's world, especially in wrestling, because it's, you think about it, as somebody smart enough to step back and figure out things, you know, like budgets and TV contracts and all these things, then, you know, they got a lot on their weight on their shoulders. Because I look at the business right now as probably one of the more exciting times. I don't think I've ever been in an overall pro wrestling cocoon that's as unpredictable and fun for me as business is now. Because it's fun to see these indies have houses. It's fun to see wrestling fans supporting all kinds of wrestling. And I think that's just way past due. I'm glad we're there. But Steve would come back from that tour very happy. And it wasn't because he got a good payday. He did get a good payday. We made money on that tour, a lot of money. Hey folks, it's time to take your podcast game to the next level. And you certainly want to get your almighty push. My God, we have to have a push, right? We'll get that over to adfreeshows.com. Now, I'm telling you, if you're a fan of Grilling JR, adfreeshows.com has the entire episode library, and it's got no ads, 0 ads, zilch, none. Ad-free and on video starting at just $9. Did you hear what I said? $9. You spend more than that at Starbucks, for God's sakes. 2 mornings. But that's not all, folks. We got tons of bonus content, including my after-hours roundtable, where drinking was involved with Eric and Tony. You simply will not find a better value in all of wrestling. Hey, look, don't make me go red ass, because by God, you know I will. Hurry over to adfreeshows.com right now and sign up. And I thank you.
He's happy because he got to work against the world champion on a tour, which is something that wasn't even fathomable in WCW.
Yeah. And he also knew that to get that match with Shawn, Steve needed, the match had to be quasi blessed with Shawn. In other words, we did not have to get Shawn's permission to book him with Steve. That never happened. But you always want to measure and test the water, stick your toe in.
Yeah.
On some of these things. And so, but 27 minutes, that's all Shawn. And that was a big statement to the old man. They went 27 minutes because I almost remember that goddamn agent report. I think Jack Lanza was on there. God bless him. He passed away here lately. Best agent we ever had. What a guy. Black Jack. He's a big, big asset to me, I can tell you. I talked to Jack Lanza. My wife, Jan, said one time, I think he talked to Jack Lanza when he talked to me. I said, well, honey, we got a whole thing going. I like the mustache. So, but Lanza was effusive. But Lanza was a mark for Austin. Lanza could see. It only happens maybe once or twice in your career. You run across somebody that's gold. Jack had it with Hogan in the AWA in early days of WWE, WWF. But you know, some of us like Patterson. Patterson was always fighting for Rock. That was his guy. And God Almighty, there's nothing wrong with that. We knew he was can't miss. So what was the problem? Was the problem going to be you get 2 top guys? Oh, how are you going to juggle that? Well, we'll figure it out. Let's travel that road and get to that next bridge and then cross it. It's not a bad problem to have. Consider they headline in 3 single matches, 3 WrestleManias. And it sold every time. There was money made in those WrestleManias that Rock in 15, 17, and 19. Because I was blessed enough to be able to call them all. And a lucky man I was. So I remember that time. Austin became a star of that tour as far as office perception.
Yeah. he would get a chance to do it again. He's not on the next pay-per-view, which is In Your House, Good Friends, Better Enemies. But remember, In Your House in that era is just a 2-hour show. But the next night on Raw, he would defeat Scott Taylor, who's going to go on to become Scotty Too Hottie. And we would see Savio Vega challenge Austin to a Caribbean strap match. Austin begs off, but that means it's definitely coming. And before we get to the next In Your House, Beware of Dog, which is a pretty crazy story in and of itself. The WWF runs a bunch of sold shows in Kuwait. And who does Austin work? Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels.
Well, I learned a little bit on that first tour. You're going to go to Kuwait. You're going to be shut in. Remember there was a TV preachers back in the day.
Oh yeah.
I want to pray for the sick and shut-ins. Well, the talents are like sick and shut-ins in some of those countries, as far as finding booze and recreation. And but I knew those guys were selling the tickets, and I also knew that they all had great respect for each other's work. So those bookings were easy. Even I could do it.
I guess they're going to use Robert's name value to give the younger guys some credibility, which you have to give Roberts credit for as a team player, since his days as a headliner are over. How professional was Jake here? Was he looking to transition to a behind the scenes gig anyway at this point?
I think you're looking to transition to any gig.
Yeah.
It's either that or be relegated to working some higher level indies.
Yeah.
And, hoping you get paid. You're not working with somebody that's crazy and getting involved in some structure, because Jake needed some structure. But yeah, I'm losing my thought. The Jake thing was that job or any job, because you saw the handwriting on the wall, Conrad. Jake did. The big money days on top are over.
Yeah.
So what do you do to replace some of the income? You can't replace it all, because the next job you get won't have the same paying position that you did as a main event guy and a WrestleMania guy and all those good things.
I just want to add context to this. A year prior to this, he's doing tours on house shows, losing to Jim Duggan, sometimes in seconds. A year later, he's doing European tours, working with the world champion and Bret Hart. And then he's beating Jake the Snake Roberts twice in the same night in Madison Square Garden. Things are looking up for Mr. Austin.
Yeah. He's, again, it's all a matter of acquiring the trust from the head man.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at savewithconrad.com.